We know how impactful Max Crosby can be when he's on the field. How impactful is it when he's not on the field, like we saw in the second half Sunday?
Yeah, you feel it. You feel it. One of the best, best player in the league, in my opinion. You're gonna notice when he's not out there, but he was a warrior. He went out there. You could see it in pregame. I thought that he'd kind of get it going. It's not often he can't go, but you definitely feel it.
How did you have to shuffle things around when Butler went out with the pregame stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, you were obviously down a few guys. So how did that affect the rotations? You guys
very, very quickly. I didn't know if Adam was going to come back. He went in the tent. And, I mean, that's the first game I've ever played with 60 linemen, let alone against the Kansas City Chiefs. But, it was tough. We managed. I got with Book and went over everybody's role, how we're going to adjust. And, everybody played a lot more snaps. I thought Jonah was in there battling, and thank God we have him.
And what was the benefit, I guess, of only going to the side? There's a benefit, I guess, for some of those young guys for down the road to get as many snaps as they did Sunday.
Yeah, so you're saying the young guys that weren't active?
The young guys that were the other six guys getting more snaps on tighter rotations because you had less people. Is there a benefit for them down the road?
Of course. I mean, getting experience and getting those reps. I mean, going against one of the best teams in the league, you're going to learn fast. But of course, I mean, we only learn by playing. Yeah.
What has Booker brought to the defense?
Number one thing, he's physical, he's strong. He's one of the most yoked up 305 guys I've ever been around. Plays hard, runs to the ball. There's some fundamentals and techniques he's learned from us, from our style of play, the way we play. But just a positive attitude. As you can tell, he's really smart. He went to Stanford and picks up things quickly. But from an effort, strength standpoint, kind of like basic criteria for the position, he's right on par.
Where has the defensive line improved the most over the first few weeks of the season?
Improved the most? I'm happy. I track everything that we do. Where are we in yards per carry? Where are we in TFLs? Where are we in sacks? Where are we, when we have, with the time to throw, how are we affecting the quarterback? In terms of tackles for loss, I know we're around that top 5 area, so I'm happy with that and being disruptive versus the run game. Our consistency with the run game, we're at, I think we're 4.0 a carry. It's solid, but you're tracing to be the best in every category, and obviously with disruption, we're there. We need to continue to get more sack production. It's coming in bunches with the flow of the game. When we're in control of the game, we're getting after the quarterback. When you're playing 4-minute and playing behind and they're running the football, it's difficult. So it's a team thing, and obviously we're always striving to be the best in all categories.
Speaking on the TFLs, what has your group done really well to allow their success so far this season in that category?
Playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage, not getting washed, playing vertical, setting vertical edges, using our hands, resetting the line of scrimmage. I always say that's pretty black and white. You either did or you didn't. There's a white line. You're on this side or you're on that side. So the more we're on their side of the line of scrimmage, it starts there. Whether we're stunning, whether we're just playing technique, or whether we're running a pressure. And then guys make plays for tackles for loss when they can anticipate what's about to happen. So understanding how you're going to be blocked on basic run game. I mean, run game starts with a mindset, and obviously there's fundamentals technique involved in that. Pad level, hands above eyes, all those type of things. But I'm really happy with the penetration and disruption we've created in the run game.
With Tyree Wilson, just what have you seen from him so far in this year?
Same thing. When he knows what to do, he's playing faster. When he's hesitant, which we're trying to eliminate those, is when the poor plays show up. But, Tennessee was playing fast, really disruptive in the run game. Everything with Tyree, he knows what to do. It's the consistency of doing it. And we talk about that. Now it comes down to just a focus thing, doing it every single time. But I think that was been good. For me, the Tennessee game jumps out. He was really disruptive and was confident in everything he was doing.
What do you think? What do you think is needed for you guys to be a little bit more consistent in terms of as a pass rush?
I look at. I go back to control of the game, it's pretty simple to me. 2.5 seconds, we better get there. If the ball's out in 2.5 seconds, unless you're shot out of a cannon, it's pretty difficult to get there. We're trying to bat the ball down. That's what I'm telling them to do. We lead the league in batted balls. I'm trying to be consistent with that, but focus on winning your one-on-ones. There's times where we're winning, ball's getting out. There's times they're hanging on to the ball and we're not winning. You know, winning away from Max is still there right now with Malcolm. He's close. We're talking about top of the rush finishes, and you know, he's getting off the ball. Talk about rush angle and really just releasing at the top, whatever that may be, with these mobile quarterbacks. You know, and he'll get home. I mean, he went through the same progression 2 years ago. So he had 1 sack through to the bye week, then he had 8 the last. You're talking about we're chasing that 1%, that finish. You know, when he's there and winning and finishing, that's him specifically. But that is the biggest thing. When you're in control of the game, it's a lot easier. You know, it's a lot easier.
Have you seen
With Tonka, Hemingway, and JJ, what have you seen from those guys, and what are you hoping to see from those two rookies?
Consistency, effort, attitude, play style, violence, not acting like rookies, not carrying themselves, you know, competing, all talented, and it's starting to come on. It's starting to come on. I tell them it's defensive line play. There's no secret pill, or there's nothing I'm going to tell you that you probably haven't heard before. We're talking about consistency and a mindset day in and day out. And they're getting better. You can't not do that in that room. You're around too many alphas that know what they're about.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. You know, I feel like you know, with the type of injury that he had, he got the plate in his ankle, so he should be a little bit like the Bionic Man, so or $6 million man, something of that nature. So we won't have to worry about that again. But, yeah, he's definitely going to upgrade us in the back end and give us a little bit more flexibility and free us up to do a lot more things in the back end.
Caillou Bukele, I mean, there's some talk about getting him some help and just as teams target him a lot more this season. What have you seen in his learning process with teams going after him a lot more?
I think he's done a lot better. You know, like I said, I think he does a great job setting that just on us, for us on the backside. You know, building the wall, the numbers. We knew that he was going to get attacked. You know, and for the most part, I'm actually, you know, surprised it hadn't been a little bit more to a certain degree. But so I think he's done an adequate job, given the fact that he's getting all the balls, because you don't see they're not even throwing the balls at Stokes on the other side. So from a coaching perspective, we got to do some things to kind of just protect us there and protect ourselves over the top. But for the most part, with the exception of, you know, maybe 3 plays, you know, that you probably wish you could have back. I think he's improving every single day.
Where's Darian in his development as a point?
Darian's coming on, and you know, I mean, you could probably argue that, you know, you could possibly put him on the football field and just let him, you know, kind of lick your wounds with him. You know, I've kind of been in a situation where I stepped on the field as a rookie. You kind of got to take your lumps with a guy like that. But he's vastly improving every single day. And, I mean, I'm looking forward to him getting on the football field.
How tough is that debate as a coach of, you know, throw him out there and let him sink and learn, or like protecting for a while until he's fully ready?
You know, my personal opinion, I just feel like it just takes time to learn the game. And he's in that process, and the longer you can protect him, the better. Because, I mean, when you look at some of these, you know, first-round quarterbacks or so-called elite quarterbacks that come out of college, you know, they throw them out there in the grass, and then all of a sudden they kind of get, you know, affected a little bit, and it kind of, you know, slows them down for a little bit. So I think as long as you can protect them and alleviate some of the scars that they receive early in their career, I think the better off they'll be on the back end.
Is every player, I mean, every player is different, I guess. So is there like an art to determining, hey, is this guy going to be better off just taking his lumps, or is this guy going to be better off being protected?
Well, so the issue with that is that it's different at that position because you get exposed now, as opposed to being a 3 technique or a shade. You see what I'm saying? We can protect him to a certain degree, but you know, there are times we got to put you out on the island, and we have no issues with him from that perspective. But I think if you can just, the more you can take the time to continue to develop him and continue to get him all the looks that he needs, I think it's better for you in the long run.
What have you seen that's worked well so far in the season, and what have you seen that you would like to see the guys build upon?
I think we're solid against the run. I think we need to improve. We need to improve our get back on track defense. Have a little bit more awareness. And I think it's a situation where we just got to recognize indicators, because there's things when offenses get into whatever formation it is they're in, they're telling you something. And I think it's important that we have a greater understanding of exactly what the formation is telling us so we can execute at a higher level. I know that might sound a little funny, but it's real.
Don't get caught up with all of the other conversation. Look, you continue to be even keeled. You continue to set an example. Not only with the things that you say, but the things that you do. So we're gonna go out there, continue to work hard. Whatever we actually do, we're gonna do it.
So I've asked Ashton this before. Everybody loves the long runs, the 70-yard runs, the 80-yard runs. But what do those 2-yard, 3-yard, 4-yard runs do towards the the total aspect of the game?
Yeah, I mean, it sets a tone. It sets a tone of continuing to move the ball forward. We talk about finishing north-south. We talk about imposing your will, different things like that. So that's what we want to do. We want to keep the chains moving. So I don't think Ashton he's never been, or he hasn't shown, at least at this point, he's not a boom or bust back. He'll continue to move the pile. So he'll get a guy misfitting and he'll take it the distance. So we kind of got the best of both worlds there, which we really enjoy. We just want to continue to feature that every opportunity we have.
100%. How would you explain what Raheem brings to the offense?
Well, I mean, he brings a calming force as far as leadership and different things like that. But man, he got some juice. The guy got some flash and dash. He can move around, do some different things. He can catch the ball. He can protect the quarterback. And the big thing is, he's a great mentor. Overall, he brings that calming presence to the running back room, and we love him for that.
What will the bye week do for really the running back group, the offense as a whole?
Well, it gives you opportunity to kind of set back and say, where's the issues? What do we need to fix? We continue to look for answers, and we look inward. Nobody's pointing fingers. We sitting up saying, man, what can each group do better to help the whole? So that's the mentality right now, and we're gonna get this thing turned around.
Whether it's Ashton, whether it's Raheem, can you talk about their ability to impact the passing game out of the backfield?
Oh yeah, again, you look at Ashton. All of the guys are dynamic out of the backfield. Ashton is really, really good out of the backfield, and we just want to continue to put him in situations where he can show that on a consistent basis. So we out there today. We have routes today. He continue to mix guys up and do some positive things because he knows that everybody watched the tape and he wanted to show that we need those opportunities. We want more.
Last question. I'm sorry if you've already answered this in a way, but where has Ashton improved the most that you've seen?
He's improved the most on his pace and his reads, so the pace of plays, where his eyes at, and different things like that. Understanding how on this level, how important it is. He can't just get away with kind of doing his own thing like he may have done maybe in college and just say, I'm a better player. Here, everything got to be detailed. And he's seen the positive result of that against Chicago, and we continue to see that. There's some things that we found a sweet spot on a lot of these runs. With everything being the least equal, we'd make some nice things happen.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Sorry if this was asked already, but a lot of attention's been on Ashton's stance and switching back to the Michael Myers stance. Do you think there's some merit to switching his stance and producing a bit more, or is it him just settling into the NFL game?
Nah, I won't put anything to that. Anything related to his stance may have been a preference, but it never was a mandate. At the end of the day, I told Ashton, look, I want you to be comfortable and productive. So whatever that is, whether he want to stand there on the handstand, whether he want to sit down and get up and take off running, it don't matter to me. Just be comfortable and productive, and that's what he's doing.
Gotcha. And I also saw a clip of him that the NFL posted against Tennessee, singing football over and over again. Just how big has his energy been this season coming into the NFL and just staying optimistic and just being happy being in the building?
Yeah, it's been great. He's a leader already. Because he puts in the work. He is on top of the details. He does the things that you want a leader to do, and at the same time, he got to be even keeled enough to have some fun, and this is, at the end of the day, it's still a game, so I love the fact that he's out there with that type of energy, but he's also getting it done when the ball gets snapped.
I guess even the guys, if you want to say behind them, Raheem Mostert and Zamir White, through this opening portion of the season, and their sample sizes, what have you seen from them?
Well, you continue to like what they do. Raheem, at this point, he's the guy who's the direct compliment to Ashton, and he's doing a great job, in protection and doing his thing as far as running the ball and different things like that, caught a couple passes. His leadership is something that you really, really lean on. But Zamir, man, the guy's doing a great job. And the thing is, we wanted to switch it up and just kind of give Raheem an opportunity, and he's taking advantage of it. But Zamir's been phenomenal behind the scenes, continuing to work hard and do everything he needs to do to be a positive guy in the room.
Speed seems to be like his greatest strength. So what's the benefit of having someone with that kind of speed, where he's on a given basis that he's the fastest guy on the field each week?
Yeah, I mean, he stretches the field, so our biggest deal was being able to get him to be able to win at the line of scrimmage so he can be fast vertically, as opposed to always just being fast running across the field, and having to scheme up ways to get him free releases. So he's worked really hard at that. When you have a guy that fast, he stresses the top of the defense and he makes it easier for guys underneath of him to be able to work. So there's so many values that he provides with that kind of speed.
Where have you seen Jack Bech improve the most over the first couple of weeks of the season, and where can he continue to get better to make more of an impact for the offense?
Yeah, I think he's improved in every facet. I think his route run's gotten better. I think he's playing with his strength a little bit more. He's understanding how to get open a little bit better in this league. I think at the end of the day, the ball goes where it goes. The biggest thing for him is just being consistent. He's not always consistent in what he's doing. He's working hard at it. He realizes that. He takes great notes. He works really hard at his game. So I think those things will start to show fruition here soon.
You talked about how much of a leader Jacoby is for the wide receiver group. How do they adjust if Jacoby's not out there?
That's a great question. I think at the end of the day, it's the next man up, and that's the way the league works. That's the way life works. So whoever's up, we got to make sure we maximize the opportunities that we get. Him being down would mean somebody else gets a chance. So we all got to be ready and take advantage of it when we get that opportunity.
How do you emphasize to those younger receivers that those opportunities may never come again? This is the NFL. You got to make the most of it.
We just talked about that today. Everybody knows what that NFL stands for, not for long. So you got to stack days on top of each other. There's never really a day off in the whole thing. It's like you need to make sure we're getting better, because if you're not, somebody else is. And somebody's always looking to try to come take your spot. So those guys realize the importance of the work ethic that we're trying to build and the culture that we're trying to build. And they're trying to do everything that we ask them to do.
For those who may not be familiar with the bye week and how much gets accomplished in the bye week, how valuable can the bye week be for those receivers in Geno and really the offense as a whole?
Yeah, everybody. It's huge for everybody, coaches included. We need to make sure that we do all the little things to put them in a position to be successful. So that starts with the self-scout and figuring out what we're doing well and what we're not doing so well, and how to do more of what we do well and less of what we don't. And it's the same for them. We watched tape today on, hey, this is how we get better third down wise. These are things we got to get better at. I think we were doing pretty well. We were in the upper third of the league. And then last week took a huge step back. So, it's all a process of figuring out how to correct those mistakes.
What did you see the few times Mike and Brock have shared the field together in the 12 formation? What have you seen in the short sample period?
Yeah, I think they got great chemistry on the field. I think they communicate well on the field, and they complement each other really well. They both have really versatile skill sets, so you can really ask both players individually to do a lot of different things. So when you put them out there together, it's fun to be able to mix and match them formationally and use them. Unfortunately, the availability of both guys being healthy throughout the course of the early part of this season hasn't been around very much. So, again, hopefully getting them back healthy and ready to go as we go into the Jacksonville week, and really excited to see what they can do together on the field in the remainder of the season.
How important is that to the offense, having those two guys healthy and being able to run and pass out of those 12 formations effectively?
Yeah, people might call me biased, but obviously I think they're two of our better players on offense, and anytime you don't have them available on Sundays, it can be a little bit of a challenge. So we got to find a way to adapt when they're not there, and when they are there, we got to find a way to utilize their skills and their talents to the best of their abilities. and game plan to give them opportunities to make plays. And I think we're gonna have more chances to do that. Hoping they stay healthy throughout the course of the year, and excited to see what they can do.
Have you seen significant progress from Brock with the knee week to week?
You know what? That's really something they handle in the training room. So he's been on a really strict schedule. I know this. There's not many people out there that work harder than Brock Bowers, and whether that's out on the practice field or in the training room in his rehab process, I know he's doing everything that they've asked him to do, and I'm not sure what the timeline is, but excited to get him out there, hopefully sooner rather than later. And I know he's doing everything in his power to make sure that's the case.
What did you say about him in the blocking game? How is Brock Bowers as a blocker?
Yeah, you know what? I think he's a really capable blocker. I think that's one of the underrated parts about his game. He's had so much success catching the football, and obviously has some statistical success and a lot of catches, a lot of yards, but we don't hesitate to put him in a three-point stance and block a defensive end. He's tough, he's physical, he's got really good play strength, he's a strong player at the point of attack. So, he's a tight end. He's not a wide receiver, and we trust him to be able to go in and get attached on the formation and put his hand in the dirt if need be and block, whoever we tell him to block. So I think it's an underrated part of his game, and it's certainly something we spend a lot of time on in practice, in addition to what he does in the pass game.